congratulations, a semi-final to remember, and you just got over the line.
Yeah, it was hard fought, you know, especially when Shamey got 3 goals today. You know, it looked every time we were going ahead and ahead, they kept getting goals, and fair play to Shane Maloney, you know, his first day out this year really with the seniors, and you know, had the composure to pop it over and win the match for us.
I suppose that was it. Every time Tip struck at you with a goal, you hit back.
Yeah, I suppose in other years we probably would have maybe lied down, you know, but the young lads in this team, we're still a relatively young team, you know, so it's an extra bonus to get to an All-Ireland final, and you know, it's going to be a big challenge next day.
Is this a sign that this Galway team is growing and building game by game? We see you.
I don't know, we'll have to answer that the next day. If we lose the All-Ireland final, it doesn't really matter how far we've got. Our main goal is to win that game the next day.
In the balance right up until the end, and as you say, Shane Maloney, nerves of steel for that one.
Yeah, Shaney's been around a good while, even though he's still quite young, you know. He was a minor All-Ireland winning captain, and Shaney's a good lad. He's flying this year, and when he got his chance, he took it, and that's what we want from the subs. They're there to finish the game off for us, and they did that today.
I think you had just maybe that small bit of edge in terms of hunger and desire.
Yeah, it's a long time since we beat Tipperary in Championship Hurling, so you know, that was a big motivation today.
And you can hear to the crowd, you can hear what it means to the Galway fans.
Sorry?
You can hear what it means to the fans.
Yeah, it's great for all the crowd, you know. That's what it's all about. It's all about the families and all about the supporters, and that's what we do it for, you know.
Now you're final bound and you get to have another crack at Kilkenny, avenge the Leinster final, the 2012 final.
It's just another game, you know. It's an All-Ireland final. There's going to be pressure, but you know, we'll enjoy the build-up to it, and we'll enjoy the day, and hopefully it goes well for us.
Very well done today, Joe.
Cheers, thanks, Phil.
Wonderful, wonderful match that will live in the memory for so long. Before a crowd of 58,495. This is the full-time score, a game that we'll talk about for years to come. Galway, 26 points. Tipperary, 3 goals and 16.
And in the commentary box for us this afternoon were, of course, Marty Morrissey and Michael Duignan. You can see the panel with us here in Croke Park. And I suppose, Ger, the first thing that we should do is pay tribute to both teams for an absolutely rip-roaring semi-final.
This was just a classic, an epic that will go down and be lived and be talked about for many, many years. And it's what we were waiting for all year. And I suppose it makes up for many of the ordinary games we had, because this was no ordinary game, and it was won by no ordinary team either, because in fairness to Galway, words like courage and phrases like refusal to give in, refusal to submit and yield are not always things that we associate with Galway, and above all, character. Right, this is a team with 4 points behind in the first minute today, right? And every time they fought back, and every time they got in the ascendancy, Tip got a goal, or Seamus Hanlon got a goal, and it looked as if they got. But they refused to give in. They fought back and fought back. And the fact that they scored 24, 25 points today, or was it 26? 26 points. That's 26 scores to 19. I think that really shows why they deserved and how they deserved to win it. It was just spellbinding to watch it out there. And even sitting up here in the stand, even the neutrals, everybody was totally engrossed in this game. Brilliant stuff. The best Hurling.
There weren't too many neutrals sitting up
No,
here.
not beside me here. Yeah.
Cyril, you're obviously thrilled with that win, but I think from a Tip point of view, there's honour in defeat, because I mean, look, if that game went on another minute, there could be a different result.
The three of us are even saying abroad, like, a draw would be a fair result. Just imagine, Seamus Hanlon gets three goals, 9 points. He'd be my man in the match, really. And he's on the losing team. We had everything today: hits, spills, blocks, stops, scores, every kind of thing. Brilliant saves by both goalies. You know, brilliant free taken by both free takers. And like, above all, I suppose, you had a very manly game. And again, as Gerard said there, like, Galway kept hitting back with the points every time. And then Seamus Hanlon get a goal, we come back in. Galway needed a goal to give them that little bit of a break. It never looked like coming, but fair dues, they stuck at it and got there in the end.
Cyril, you know the Galway manager, Anthony Cunningham, very well from his playing days when you were a manager. He's with us now.
Anthony, I suppose it looked for a while there in the closing minutes like we'd be coming back again, but you're there, you're in the final.
Yeah, I did. I thought it was 2 minutes extra time, and couldn't believe it there. But I suppose we got the break there at the finish. Shane Maloney there, I suppose, came on and missed one, and then recovered very well. You know, always after missing a score, it's a great sign of a young chap coming through. And you know, these guys have fought like tigers and deserved it. I think they're in the finish, and fantastic game that had everything really. And you know, would have taken a draw there certainly, but I suppose the winner takes everything. And say hard luck to Tipperary and to Eamon and his team. And that's, you know, there are fine lines in this game, and you know, we'll be eagerly looking forward to the final now.
Do you think overall, though, you were the better team despite the fact you didn't get the goals?
Yeah, I thought Tips sucker punch in the first. I mean, super Callan goal, trademark goal, but then we played very good hurling, I think, to get back into it. Same in the second half, really. You know, we're flying it, and you know, sucker goal again from Seamus, and but you know, and in general play, I think we had more of the better hurling really, and deserved to win it there in the finish. I thought probably a couple of decisions didn't go in the first half, we probably did in the second half. So that'll happen in matches like this.
In this room after the Leinster final, you were very determined. You said we'll be back here to see Kilkenny in the final. You have that opportunity now.
Yeah, I suppose that we had a few words there after with Brian Cody afterwards there, and we'd always say that we always really believe in this team and these set of young fellas coming through. You know, but you know, just looking towards that now. You know, the might of Kilkenny are there. They're a fantastic team, fantastic players. But we've improved. But big question now is for us to get ready in the next 3 weeks.
Well, we wish you good luck with that. Congratulations, Anthony.
Thanks. Very good.
And I think you can judge from the pictures there yourself that Anthony Cunningham, he's exhausted after that, and why would he not be? Liam, a defeat, unfortunately, for a Tip today, but I'm sure you're proud of the lads and the way they played. Your assessment of the game?
Yeah, look, I mean, you know, as the lad said, you know, Seamus Callan scoring 3-9, you would have expected to win the game, you know, but ultimately the rest of the forward didn't really function, to be fair. I mean, Conor Mahoney come on and got a point, Noel McGrath got a point. That only leads five other points from the rest of the team. Wasn't enough, really. I thought Dahi Burke was a colossus on Bonner-Maher. I mean, Bonner-Maher is really the driving force of that forward line for the last number of years. He very much negated him all day and done a really good job. And I thought Colin Callan in that second half as well, he made some outstanding saves, you know what I mean? The one he made from Larry, the penalty save, you know, on numerous occasions Tip looked like they were going to break the line again. And, you know, full credit to Galway. I think what we've seen, I thought the work rate and the work ethic that they brought to the pitch today, but a few times the ball went out over the line, they just battled and like they really showed a massive defiance. And like for them going in to play Kilkenny after losing to them in the Leinster final, they needed to be severely tested. I would have felt that whoever won today, they needed a severe test. Galway have got that today, so I'll tell you what, it'll be a first spring in their step in the next week going back into training.
And it also shows, I suppose, the benefit of playing against Kilkenny. You know, it hardens a team from playing. These two teams have played Kilkenny so often over the last number of years. And Galway today had a hardness about them, a physical hardness and a mental hardness, which was more important.
The day they played Kilkenny in that Leinster final, Cunningham said to Brian Cody afterwards to see you in the final.
See, Michael, Brian Cody said that to Cunningham the 2 years before that as well, that he'd meet in the final. It's one thing to say it, you have to back it up. And again, like as you know, down in Galway, Anthony Cunningham and that management team be under fair pressure because Galway expect to win the All-Ireland without everyone getting in there. Now they're in there and this pressure's still on. But you'd have to hand it to both teams. The hits, the belts, no dirty stroke, like everyone driving on. And again, the benches came on. Again, the 15-day game is gone. And like the numbers on the lads back, might be pick 13, you could be play number 7. The matchups Galway tried today, to put Pádraig Manning on Candle, that didn't work. With Johnny Cohen and Bubbles, that did work. To put Dahi Burke on Bonner-Maher, that did work. So some of them work, some of them don't. But you have to roll with the tide. And as Anthony said there, you get some of the breaks. I had that fella, he won minor, under 21 as senior, as it happened with Galway. And I hope he wins the senior title now as a manager. Be great.
That's for another day. We have another short break to take here in a moment.
At this stage, the players all over the place, and Shane had just come on. He missed him before this. Now, Shane would have captained a minor team to win All-Ireland, played minor for 2 or 3 years ago. But at this stage, the goal backs are beginning to thunder out the ball. David Burke has a look up, a lovely little ball here. Cannon hits a crossfield ball, long field ball. Now, this is Shane. Now, he missed before this, goes back. And usually, I thought he was going to tap it over here, but he's trying to make doubly sure, just fix it over the wrist. That guy now would be quite confident, Michael, to go and take frees. He's a very good player.
Yeah.
Like, that's his first touch and first game to play for Galway this year, senior. So, like, he'll remember that early. He'll be fighting for a place, like, you know, just make doubly sure, takes his time and taps it over. So that's what you want. He'll be happy tonight.
And they finished with 4 of last year's under-21 team in the forward line. So it's a very, very young team.
They got walloped
very young team.
They
were beaten by Wexford,
you know,
remember, and Wexford were beaten by Clare afterwards. So it just shows you the improvement that has come about in that team under Anthony Cunningham. And I think we should mention Eugene Clunan as well. He's made a huge difference to how those forwards play in that Galway team.
Yeah, last word to Liam Sheedy.
Yeah, we look at it. I mean, we looked for a great game. We got a classic in my view. It had everything. I suppose that man-to-man combat. It was just a wonderful spectacle. Sad there had to be a loser. I think. Look, that's sport. And you know, sometimes teams get breaks, and I think Anthony Cunningham over the last number of years, he's deserved his break, and he got his break today. And they'll march on now in 3 weeks' time, and we're set up for a fantastic final.
And no sweepers.
No sweepers, no systems, no three-piece suits.
Hurling, the recipe's copy. Yeah. Brilliant stuff. That's what we want.
Without hip, I was talking before, hip and whip, and you got
Whip.
flip.
We had plenty of that, sir. There's no doubt about
We had that
that.
up here in the stand. These two fellas beside me here.
It was lovely to see, though. Just hurling the way it should be played.
Oh, yeah. Well, I suppose you have to have systems and you have to have plans in place.
And they had.
Yeah, and of course they had. Yeah.
It was all positive. Brilliant stuff.
We are coming to the close of the programme for this.
Well, it was just a wonderful afternoon, and there's confirmation of the reward for Galway. They will play Kilkenny in the All-Ireland Senior Final on the 6th of September. A match you'll see live, of course, here on RTE. Don Logue, you were sitting between myself and Henry. It was fantastic stuff.
Yeah, fantastic stuff. Love days you're talking to people here who love the game, and love can be blind, but it was obvious to everybody in the stadium today that they were witnessing something epic. And both teams, you know, it was almost unfortunate that there had to be a winner, but both teams deserve the utmost credit for what they produced.
Yeah. Anthony, we were kind of calling for a draw, at that stage.
We'd have loved to seen another 70-something minutes of that again next Saturday night, as it would have been magic. But at the same time, you'd have to say Galway deserved. They got no goal, they conceded 3, and yet they came out on top. And you have to credit overall that they were just the better team on the day and possibly deserved their victory.
Yeah. Henry, were Tip a bit below par in your view today? Is that unfair to them?
I think it's unfair to Galway. I think Galway played very well, played at a high intensity. But I think, again, probably something similar to last year. You know, one of my friends from Tipperary texts me, says, we lost another thriller. And that's probably Tipperary's problem tonight, is that they keep losing these thrillers, you know, and it's a fair point. But I think, again, the difference being is that when the high intensity came on, I just felt they didn't have the ball winners there, a bar Seamus Callahan, who was the difference. But I think they'll probably be disappointed with their performance up front. And I think Galway, as Anthony said, were just about the better team. But drama plenty, like 3 goals, 41 points, 2 penalties and 3 points in injury time. It was just everything you could ask for in a hurling game we saw there today.
Yeah, it is a fantastic win for Galway, and perhaps it puts the quality of their performance into context, because maybe Galway haven't been given enough credit this season. You know, when they beat Cork, many of the Rebels fans were treating it as a disaster. Indeed, we had a fairly robust discussion on their hurling structures here in the programme. Some pointed language about the administrators of the Cork County Board that was considered as unnecessary by some in the context of that discussion. But in fact, we now see the Cork were beaten by a fantastic Galway side, and there were several elements to Galway that really impressed you, Henry, today.
Yeah, well, 2012 they were very close to beating Kilkenny. Last 2013 and 14 has been a disappointment. I think we were all expecting Galway to come with something new. I think they have found that new. 3 players spring to mind in the forwards: Cotton Mannion, Jason Flynn and Conor Whelan. And I think, you know, as well as that, is their what we're highlighting here is Sildon collecting the ball after Seamus Callahan's second goal. Yeah. Jason Flynn over his shoulder, over the bar. I think before Galway would have lit down once Seamus Callahan got his second goal, but not this time. They got the score. Next ball went in, Darren Gleeson got out. They were attacking, very hungry for the ball. I think this is the difference. Cotton Mannion, just the way he just used his hurl here, the skillful wrist over the bar, and that's how they responded to Seamus Callahan's second goal. Third goal, here comes Jonathan Glynn, who didn't score from play today, but did an awful lot of work around the field. Won a softage enough free. Joe put it over the bar. And straight after this, Anthony was showing one of the clips later on, Conor Whelan, the intensity work down. And this is something new. Look at 1 body challenge, 2 body challenges on Andy Smith. Shane McGrath, 3, 4, 5. And these are all body challenges. And Jonathan Glynn in block, spills the ball out over the line. And that brought that intensity to it. But watch this, from this resulting sideline, this is the composure then they played with. Short line ball, David Burke, on to Cotton Mannion, back in Jink. He doesn't go for a Hail Mary shot, back to the man in the better position, and David Burke with a brilliant performance all game over the bar. And they showed that composure. Yeah. They brought the intensity, but as well as that composure. And I think they married both of them very well. They did it well against Cork, and we didn't know was it because Cork was so poor, but I think they brought it again to another level again today. And I think you'd have to be very impressed. They've done it 2 days in a row, and it looks like a new Galway, definitely. And they have a very good blend between experienced players and young players. And just to note as well, I didn't show a clip of Joe Canning there. I didn't mention his name. And I think that's what's new about him. These players are bringing to Joe as well. And Joe played very well as well today, to be honest, you know.
It's the marked contrast from Thurles last year, you know, where when Shamey got the few scores, they died. They never died today. You know, they just had that hunger, they had that belief.
Well, show us, you're illustrating that intensity.
Yeah, they were like, there's, you know, to me, in lots of ways, they were like a pack of ravenous hounds there today. Like, they just wouldn't give up the battle. Just after half-time, James Budlock, you know, who was on to play a lot, but Cyril Donlan, he just would not let him away with that ball. Cyril had a great game today, but what did it result in? Only a piece of beauty that we'll probably see in the PGA later on that won't be as good. But again here, like, Woody, I don't mean to be picking on Woody, but Dahi Burke chases back. JJ got some credit for that hook last year in the All-Ireland final. That's equally as good. That's incredible defending. This is Woody doing very well. Rides the tackle from Joe and from Joseph Cooney, feeds it off to Ronan Marr. Andy Smith just puts his body in. He doesn't even put his hurley in. He puts his body in and comes away with the ball. And they were just up for that all day long. They wouldn't let it out. And Pádraig Maher's forced to whip on a ball. So on Pádraig Maher like, and straight from that line ball, this is a 1-point game, Des, straight from that line ball, Johnny Glenn, as we've illustrated, did a lot of work, didn't score, spots Burke. Burke was the best midfielder on view, a fantastic score, but this is the one that really epitomises it. Young Conor Whelan, 19, plucked out of the intermediate team and the under-21s, wouldn't give it up. Shane McGrath, savaged. He was absolutely savaged by 4 of them, and Whelan is there to pick up the pieces, and that's a murdering score from the tip point of view. And you see Mr. Galway, Mr. Tribesman in the crowd there. He's like a player at that stage.
Because Don Logue, at times Galway struggled to win their supporters over. They've probably had so much heartache, but by God, there was some reception for them at the end today, wasn't
and
there?
we commented at the start of the game there today. There seemed to be a lot of Galway people. It seems as if Galway have been growing since the early in the year. You look at, you know, even against Dublin in the start of the year when they lost a couple of games in the league, who would have said that they were going to be in an All-Ireland final? And sometimes the Galway supporters can be accused of being a bit maybe picking and choosing when they support their teams.
When they lost down in Walsh Park in the quarter-final of the league.
That's exactly it, and there wasn't too many Galway people down there. But today there was a real sense of passion, and we know there's a big rivalry between Galway and Tip, but it was great to see. The players responded, and it was great to see afterwards the type of scenes we saw.
Henry, as a forward, you had to admire Seamus Callanan's performance today for Tip. It was outstanding, wasn't it?
Yeah, we're admiring it with 2 years solid now, and his level of performance, you know, from the get-go, high ball in, he would have quite Munster final, just a high ball in, and this was, you know, just Pádraig Mannion, who struggled in the high ball, was went to break the hurl off him. He should play the ball. It's no use breaking hurls, you know, if your man catches the ball. And for the first 25 minutes, they were creating space. Seamus Callanan on Pádraig Mannion again, acres of space in front of him, direct ball into him, and just watch this, like, this looks simple, but just watch his movement, you know, he's one way, next thing he's gone the other way, Pádraig Mannion doesn't know where he is, and straight over the bar. And that was what was happening the first 25 minutes. In the second half, they were restricted to these high balls, but when it did go in, he still win. And look at that finish, bottom corner. Just, you know, it's a brilliant finish. Just, you know, most of the goal is the other way, but he puts it in. And again, this is the best of them all. He just shrugs him off, and just down low under Colm Callan, who was having a great game in the goal, it gave him no chance. And his just performance was just magnificent. He scored 3-9, 3-4 from play, but they didn't get enough ball into him. And here's Kieran Bergen, who played a good game, taking a pot shot from outside. But Seamus Callanan's inside, plenty of space in front of him. And just watch his reaction. He's saying, for a player in form, give me the ball. And that's what you want. Just give me the ball and he will do the damage. And they just stopped. They couldn't get enough ball into him. And that was their downfall. He scored 3-9. The starting other 5 forwards scored 4 points from play between them. And that was the difference. Well, Galway had a spread of scores. But his performance was, you know, and as I said, he's been doing it with 2 years solid now.
Good lesson for defenders there, Days. You often hear someone let fly there around the square, and if a guy is trying to catch the ball, top class forwards, that's like just biscuits to a bear to them. They're used to taking belts and they'll focus on the ball. Like Henry said, you're much better off actually trying to go up and catch the ball yourself, or at the very least play the attacker's hand to get the ball away from him.
Yeah, if you look at JJ Delaney down the years.
Foul him, you mean?
Were you mentioning JJ?
I was mentioning JJ because Donald, I'm sure, will come in with his spare hand here. But if JJ didn't catch it, whoever was behind him, Owen Murphy or PJ Ryan, they were normally going to sweep up. And that's what you have to do. And Pádraig Mannion struggling. He's a very good player. We highlighted him last day. Very risky, but he was struggling.
And even if you're a keeper behind there, Henry, and you see your own defender swiping as hard as that, it's taking your own eye off the ball as a goalkeeper.
Well, speaking of the goalkeepers, both of them did exceptionally well today, didn't they?
Look, both of them were outstanding. Look, Darren Gleeson and Colm Callan, you could do a whole highlights programme on the players themselves. Here was early days, like this is a free shot. It's almost like a player taking a puck out. And we know the ball is much lighter these days. It travels at serious speeds, and Darren Gleeson was in an excellent position. And here we see, again, Colm Callan, maybe not the best of shots from Bonamara, but what I love here is the bravery and how fast he was with his feet, constantly getting up, not happy with making one save. And here you see him coming out again, trying to play it to one of his own men. Really, really impressive stuff. I know James Scahill was outstanding last week for the Galway intermediate team, and there's one constant between both James Scahill and Callan. They've got a really top-class goalkeeping coach in Christy O'Connor. Here you see the second half. I picked this up because this ball was deflected. It wasn't a really easy save. Darren did well, but the ball goes down the other side of the field, and here they are again, the centre of attention. Again, not a great save, but what I like about this, didn't panic, didn't do the selfish thing by baiting the ball into the stand and have all the crowd praising him for a great save, wanted to pick out his man. And here, if you like, the cream of the crop of the whole lot, don't underestimate this. Look at where the boss of his hurley is. He has to go against gravity, and he has to go to the opposite side of his body. And like I said earlier on, the balls are travelling so fast nowadays. That was an exceptional save, and one for the ages, and the one that, you know, keepers train all their lives. That's why they do all that training. They might do 1,000 shuttles, trying to increase the speed of their feet, increase their body positioning, all for that type of dream sequence of saves in Croke Park. So well done to both keepers.
It was great stuff. It wasn't a tactical... tactically, it was interesting, but there weren't sweepers back, which probably helped make it more entertaining. But in looking at that, Anthony Cunningham deserves a lot of credit. We can reflect maybe on what he said after they were beaten by Kilkenny in the Leinster final. This is what he had to say.
Huge amount of work for us and huge experience for our younger players, and you know, we will be still a huge threat. And said there to Brian Cody afterwards, we'll see them in the All-Ireland final.
Yeah, as a multi-winning All-Ireland manager myself, obviously not. There's some statement by Anthony, you know, and I think the players bought in as well. At times players will buy in, at times they'll say, but he was really up for it today. He didn't want to give that ball to Seamus Callan on the stroke at half-time. No, they're very near Seamus Callan here. Barry Kelly's very near him as well. I don't think they'd be too happy being the free taker, trying to level the match at half-time, and probably Seamus' only mistake of the day. But all day, I thought Galway tried this. Now, look, you can't condone not moving Pádraig Mannion. When a fella has 1-4 scored, it's time to move him, not 3-4. And that's the big mistake they made. But they got to grips with the system. They got Tanyan deep. He was struggling a bit early on, but they got him back to where he should be, inside his own 45 mostly. Brilliant ball forward. This is the cream. This is really where Tanyan comes into his own, you know, sweeping across the line. No ball going into Shamey in that situation. And he's so strong. They got him back into the war zone, if you like, in there, and he wins a massive free right at the death, and the fist pump says it all, and he's one of their leaders back there. If he's going well, again here, you know, to contrast this maybe with the decision by the tip management. No, it's very easy to be critical. 1,000 things go on in the game.
Yeah, it was only puck
like Shamey is taken down here by John Hanbury, it's a tough tackle. He hits the ground fairly hard. He's down for approximately 2 minutes, I think. Yeah. Roughly, we can say he looks fairly rattled at this stage. Was it the right decision to let him hit the penalty? To me, it looked a very tired shot.
For me, Anthony, to be honest, I don't like that, because your focus is normally on going, taking the frees and stuff, and enough from an injury, you're kind of worried about your injury, and then to go take a penalty in a high pressure. But he was after scoring 3, 5 or 6 or 6 days.
The confidence up. But then we saw Larry coming on. Now, bringing on Larry's high risk a bit. He can lift the whole thing, or you know, and he gives away a silly free. But a huge call by Cunningham there, and Cloonan we see beside him, to bring out Jason Flynn to hit that, instead of Joe. That's a big call at the moment. We see Brian looking on, and we can't wait for the sixth to see what the sideline will be like. It's been good between them before, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yourself, you were involved in a couple yourself.
From a defender's point of view, Des, I'd be critical enough of Galway in terms of it was a really tough job they gave Mannion to do, and he was struggling in there on Callan. In the modern game, if you're left one-on-one with any top forward, you're going to be under serious pressure. You needed earlier days the likes of Tanyan and the half-back line coming in, helping out their defender.
So he deserved a move as well. He deserved a move. Like, if your man has 1-4 scored, it's nearly up to the guys on the sideline to say, look, let's try Hanbury on him, let's move Pádraig across. Like, 1-4 is enough for me on the sideline. I think that needs to be looked at.
But I would say for the first 25 minutes, as I highlighted, there was plenty of space. But what that was that at one stage, we commented at open stage, Seamus Callan got a point and Aidan Hart was outside him. But because they were so wary of the tip forwards, of throwing off the ball, they stayed in their main. I think they gave up that and they said, we're going after the ball now. And you can see that from the clips we've shown. they just wanted to hunt in packs after that. And I think that.
And they kept Bonner quiet and Bubbles quiet as well, in fairness to the others. You know.
And the other team that moves as well as Tipperary when they're on the ball in the game is Kilkenny. The defence will need to be unselfish, and all of the runners that are coming, they'll need to be streaming back and working.
And you think ahead to TJ Reid as well, the form he's in.
Not to unlike Callan.
Well, let's stay with today's match for a minute. The penalties, don't look.
Look, the penalties were big talking points, Des, and it's even in general, if you look at the penalties, watch the run here. There was Cyril Donlan made fierce yards and did really well to win possession. There was a couple of Galway and Tipperary supporters around us, and there was a lot of talk as to whether it was not a penalty or was a penalty. I would say he was obviously fouled outside of the square, but he was still fouled inside. So I think it was a good. He was still fouled while he was inside, so it was still a good decision. Some good graphics here from the graphics department shows that the start of the foul was outside. But again, I think it was one thing here. You'll think I'm always on about the umpires and linesmen. It's a bit of a strange position. Watch this. Darren Gleeson guessed today. He's moving before the shot is struck from Joe Canning, so he deserves credit for that. Here again is the next penalty. Anthony looked at it. I think it's worth looking at this again, right? There was no question about it being a penalty, and people were saying around us, was it his shoulder or whatever. I'd encourage you, just look at Shamey's head here and the impact on the ground. That's a serious belt to get into the head, and there's a couple of different angles. Again, you see it here. And when this was happening and the ball broke away, look at that, look, that's a serious bang. Bubbles actually had the ball in his hand, and I was saying, look, would I let Bubbles take this? I think it was a draw game at the time. Would you have been better off? And whilst he still got a bit of power into it, it was a fairly timid shot, lads.
I think he was very conscious to make sure he hit it a bit high, though, to get the point, to put them in front.
Fair point.
64th or 5th minute.
Some people remember a couple of years ago you took a point in that situation. Some people are actually saying should he actually go for the point? But
well, no, I didn't take a point, but we're level at that stage.
He didn't mean to, you mean?
But I think it's a fair point. Like, we all spoke about this penalty rule coming in, and there was all talks. Everyone was going to score. Today there was 2 penalties. Only a point came off, and I think when you get to the top level, if you see what I noticed, that Joe Canning went to his right because he's right-handed. So to hit the ball to the left-hand side of the keeper is against your swing. So I think for anyone, if you see TJ Reid scoring, he was going to the left. So I think keepers are starting to cop on that people go to their strong side.
And the pressure is all on the keeper now.
Yeah.
The pressure is all on the striker.
Exactly.
The keeper loves it.
Keeper loves it. You love to stand there today. Yeah. You couldn't lose. But and on that point, and look, you played in the forward line. Who am I to tell you? But I stood in goals for plenty of penalties. That was a nice height for Dan.
Perfect,
You'd imagine that it should be bouncing along the ground.
Yeah, okay. I stood in goal, but the fella didn't want to be in there at all.
I think he didn't want you in there. That's a different point. There was a couple of talking points. Should there have been cards given or red cards given? A couple of instances. Let's have a look at them. The first one we can see here involves Joe Canning, don't look.
Yeah, look, Joe Canning is living on the edge. There's no point in saying otherwise. No, you could argue that the ball was there, but let's face it, if the helmet wasn't there, he was in trouble in that situation. So I think Joe's living on the edge. He needs to watch himself.
And Cyril Donlan then, Anthony.
Yeah, he's lucky boy, I'd say, as well. You know, it's hard to see it from that angle, but when we look at it again, I mean, the linesman is in a good position. It's a puck out from Colm Callan. It comes down. You see where the linesman is. He's right beside him. The ball breaks. I think James Woodlock kind of third man tackles him. He flicks back with the hurley. If he's caught, it's definitely a yellow. Is it a red? I don't know, but it definitely caught him with the hurley, and he's lucky. It was a third man tackle, first of all, by Woody, I think. But
and what would you have given a yellow?
I think yellow, probably. You know, there was only a one-handed flick, really. I don't think it was anything too malicious. But we've all seen how scrutinised everything is at the minute, and these guys have to be careful.
Well, let's finish on a positive, on a fantastic day that meant so much to us. And we had Noel McGrath coming back, which meant a lot. But what a finish, the closing moments.
Yeah, look, it grew like a symphony. Look, it did. You know, I think we heard Liam Griffin.
It was fairy tale when he got
fairy tale stuff, and you know, it looked as if that was going to be the winner. And all of this was happening in extra time. And I think Liam Griffin used the river dance example a number of years ago, and I think that was really the perfect way to describe it today. That everything that was good about hurling was there. This was a serious pass from Joe Canning. Another player might have went to take it on, but he used his hurling brain to pick it out. And fairy tale you're talking about.
Henry, yeah.
Oh, well, the ball in was magnificent. David Burke, though, gave a great ball to Joe Canning, wristy hurls, and then basically over to Shane Maloney. I would mention Shane Maloney, his debut, come on.
68 minutes he came on.
68 minutes, 4 minutes on. He had one shot, he dropped short, next one over the bar. But I think that there, shows everything that was great about today. Noel McGrath, it was emotional to see him come on, emotional to see him getting the winning score, we thought, and next thing Galway to go down the field and turn it around.
Yeah. But, it summed up the whole spirit of the thing and the real rivalry, yet the real sportsmanship. Anthony Cunningham wasn't gone off doing river dance, jumping around with his players. He was going over to Noel saying, Noel, it's just fantastic to see you back. It means more than any All-Ireland semi-final to see him back there.
Anthony mentioned sportsmanship, and 51 minutes today, in the heat of battle, Erlatanyan and Bubbles collided and both hurleys fell on the ground. Bubbles picked up both hurleys and handed back Erlatanyan his...
I'm not so sure I'd have done that.
I'm not so sure any of us would have done it, but it was great sportsmanship.
All right then. Well, you've heard the views of our panel. Let's hear what the Tipperary and Galway camps had to say after the game.
Just as turning, I saw Conor Ryan slip, so I knew I had an extra second or two, and thankfully went over. Don't there's other days I mightn't, so we'll take it.
I suppose we got, for getting to the final, and in fairness to Galway, I thought, they got their 1 point win, and I have nothing but credit for Galway for today's game.
I don't know what it was like to watch now, but it was a very intense game now. The tackling, the hook and the block in the game was unreal, and look, what an experience. You start the year, you want to be in an All-Ireland final, and we've reached that goal now, and it was a great experience, yeah.
Through 3 times alright, I suppose. You'd have to look at the record books and see when the last time Galway conceded 3 goals, didn't score any ourselves, and come out the right end of it. But look, we'll take it. We got the win. That's all that matters.
Yeah, I think Seamus is a fantastic player, but we probably lacked a little bit of fluency on the forward line, and we needed support for him, and so I think that's probably an issue for us now and then.
These guys have fought like tigers and deserved it. I think they're in the finish, and fantastic game that had everything really, and would have taken a draw there certainly, but I suppose the winner takes everything, and say hard luck to Tipperary and to Eamon and his team, and that's there are fine lines in this game.
And again we've seen since 4 o'clock that when Tipperary hit Galway with a big score, the Galway character is tested and they come through with flying colours.
I suppose in other years we probably want us to get to an All-Ireland final, and it's going to be a big challenge next day.
We just have to match their intensity, I suppose, and look forward to it. It's an Ireland final, it's where you want to be. Every day you're going up, puck against the wall at home, that's where you want to be, and personally myself, it's my first time being in it now, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Look, they're not going to be complacent, so we just have to knuckle down, and I suppose it's probably a good thing really. We just know we have to improve, and it's simple as that.
The might of Kilkenny are there. They're a fantastic team, fantastic players, but we've improved, but big question now.
And looking down through it, David Burke from Tipperary, Cathal Barrett, Joe Canning deserved a mention, but the nominees that we went with were Shemi Callanan. Spoke about him as to his contribution today was immense. Colm Callanan, outstanding in goals, and the man we saw there being interviewed, Jason Flynn.
Jason, okay, well, you have to pick the winner, Anthony.
Yeah, there was other people who were very close. I mean, Carl Mannion again doing the business. Joe made a major contribution. I thought David Burke had a great game in midfield as well. Carl Barrett, excellent for tip cornerback. But the Galway guys ruled the roost, really. But you can't deny Shemi Callanan's performance. It was just a man. How he's gone home on that bus tonight, scoring 3, 8 or 9 and 3-4 from Clay beaten. It must be hard to believe he's not in the Ireland final.
It's unusual, but Henry, you felt he had together as well.
Oh yeah, like he was, only for him, as I said earlier on, like he was the shining light. To be fair, I must say that the Galway forwards are playing at a top level, but Seamus Callanan was head and shoulders before any ball that went into him today. He was very dangerous, and to score 3-9 in an All-Ireland semi-final is some going.
Do you ever do that?
No, got close to it, all right.
All right. I was going to say you still have time, but you don't.
No.
Anyway, let's not take from Shemi. Congratulations to him, and he spoke with Claire after the game.
Yeah, look, I won't lie, it's very, very disappointing. For ourselves, for Eamon, Eamon has put in so much, and we all feel like we owe him now for all his efforts. But look, Galway, they pulled away at the end there, and we wish him all the best in the final. Today it worked out for me, worked out something different for people other days, but it's not personal things like that are no good. And days like today when you're not getting into the first weekend in September, so that was our goal, and we came short. He's given so much, and he puts an awful lot into it, and an awful lot of time into us as players on and off the field. So if he's to go, he'll be sadly missed.
Well, Seamus, congratulations. You are the Etihad Airways RTE Man of the Match, and Beatrice Cosgrove is here with your award.
Yeah, well done to Shamey. The Galway lads will just have to try and get it in 3 weeks' time. Well, now it's time to go